So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, my name is Greg Schneider. I'm 42. I was a former business owner. I've done a lot of different things in my life, and I'm formerly incarcerated. I kind of identify with that as well, so it's a part of my history now. So I was released January of this year, 2025, from Westville, and I have been out for 11 months now. Family, I felt, I got really good, close family. My sister, my brother, my sister's family, my mom, that's who's present currently.
Where are you in your reentry journey at this time? That could be where you're living, what you're doing, things like really anything.
I'm at my house. So I actually co-own, but I took over payments for my mom's house. So that's what I'm helping with that and living there, which I know is like one of the biggest struggles. So I felt like I was incredibly lucky to actually have housing when I got out. And within like the first month or so, I had the car, I got a job, I had everything just kind of roll, like just in the entry stuff, just real quick, real fast. It was just like, okay, cool, I can just step and be good and be on my feet for at least something. And then, from there I pushed off, and I'm on parole currently. Parole will go until 2027. I have another year of that, and then I'll be on probation for about 8 years.
Okay.
So yeah, I had the 2 batteries with serious bodily. I'm not, it is what it is. I'm not proud of what I did. What it is. But when it comes to re-entry end, my parole officer is really cool. He knows that I'm really easygoing when it comes to stuff, and I'm not about to be, I went 7 years without any incident inside. Yeah. So now I have, another year of that without outside now. So it's been a decent journey so far. It's been really interesting.
Are you working now?
Yes. Yep. I work with Carvana. Okay. And I just got that job maybe a month ago. I just swapped careers. Oh, nice. I worked at Speedway prior to that.
Okay.
And shout out to all my Speedway love. It's all 7-Eleven and Speedway now, and I left because it was time for me to move on. I mean, I had an office position prior to that. I was, fairly successful before being incarcerated. It was just bad mindset, mistakes. Life happened, and it changed the entire course of everything that I, wanted to get into.
Now kind of just rebuilding, restarting.
Yeah, I had my pre-retirement, I guess we'll call it that, and went from there.
Yeah.
So
that's really good though.
So what has the reentry process been like for you?
It's been fairly simple, so fairly easy, not really too crazy. But it's parole, so I don't know. I haven't been through the probation office yet. I haven't done that, and I know I have to go down to Indianapolis, and I know there's going to be extra headaches and everything else that probation that the state wants me to do. There's extra jumps and everything else they want me to do, but parole so far has been phenomenal. I haven't had any issue. I go in whenever they ask. It's I have my next visit next week on the 16th, so it's just what it is. It's just. My parole officer's been phenomenal.
Have you had the same one?
The whole time, yep. Through the Gary office, he's been great. So, he's a really, really cool guy, like just all around. I can't complain about really anything when it comes to that end of it. So I kind of have an anticipation of what I should be expecting from probation, but that was from other people through the system and that. Yeah. I just know that Indianapolis is different from Lake County, or Marion County is different from Lake County when it comes to processes and I just know that once I transfer up here, I should be okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not that guy. I'm not about to be like, oh, hey, I'm going to be a problem for you. No, not even a little bit. So.
As long as you're doing what is asked and stuff, it's smooth sailing. And
absolutely, absolutely. That's ultimately what they are. They're wanting you to be a productive member of society. Yeah. As long as you can, perform the basic functions of being human. Yeah. They kind of let you be.
Yeah.
I got to go in for a drug screening every once. Like I've had 2 drug screenings my entire time for this last year.
Oh, okay.
I've had a couple home visits, a couple. Mainly it's over the phone.
Oh.
It's like, hey, I'll text them or call them, be like, hey, I'm going here for the weekend. Like I can't go to my sister's house or I can't go to my brother's house without express permission.
Okay, yeah.
So And you know what? I'm also the one that's like, hey man, happy Thanksgiving.
Checking in.
Yeah,
and stuff,
it's like, hey, how you doing this week? You all right? Everything going good? He's like, yeah, Greg, I'm fine. Blah blah blah. Sorry to be a bother. Nothing's going on my end. You know, that type of stuff. So, again, I've been very, very, very lucky when it's come to these processes, and I know I am. I know that there's struggles that I should be facing. There should be struggles that I've heard from other people that I know who are excellent people that don't deserve to have those struggles. And I don't know, I feel really blessed, really lucky about that. I feel grateful for Sam. I feel grateful for, just the people who helped make that reentry process a bit easier. Being prepared after 7 years of incarceration, I had the chance of, being in a class full of, younger people who were like, hey, this is how the world's working now. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's been that big of it. Like, it changed 3 times over by the time I was in there. I mean, I had a pandemic. I went through, not just almost a decade worth of just not being around culture at that point, and everything has changed so much where I feel like this lost old man. Yeah. I mean, I pick up my phone now and I'm just like, sorry, I made a face. I'm sorry, I know you guys can't see that. It's a shocked face of awe. It's like, wow. And I thought I was with it with technology. I mean, I have tons of experience when it comes to with technology, and I thought I was with it when it came to culture. I thought I was with it when it came to all these things, but then it's like, nah, not today. Like, there's some days I'll just sit there and I'm just like, what? I'm totally confused about, like, I don't even know. There's a lot of things, and it just brings me and it humbles me to the point where it's like, okay, you have to remember, this is what you went through, this is what you're going to be going through, and it's still an adjustment process. I'm still within that first year out, and that's just an adjustment for me. It's just been trying to find my footing and trying to find that, trying to take that first real deep breath and find that way of exploring my freedom within the parameters of parole and probation, of course. But that's just what it is right now.
Yeah, it is still fairly recent, so you got to give yourself some grace with that.
Oh yeah, absolutely have, and it's been a huge thing at that, and I'm really, really grateful that I had the probation or the parole officer I've had, because he's been just like, hey Greg, just do your thing. You get in trouble, let me know immediately. Yeah. Speeding ticket, whatever, it doesn't matter. You get in a little bit of trouble, let me know immediately. And be open about what your process is like. Are you getting a car? Are you going to be moving? Are you going to be changing jobs? Are you going to be doing this or that? I let him know, hey, I'm making this step. Just letting you know this is what's going on. That way there's no surprises on his end. He doesn't want surprises. No. Surprises are bad on his end. Okay, I can do that.
I can let you know,
Absolutely.
That is nice. That seems like it makes it easier for you, too, just being able to catch up with him and check in and all that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, with things like culture changes and technology and things like that, would you say those have been the most difficult things in your reentry, or have there been other things too?
The relationships with people has been the most difficult. I learned behaviors inside that are just not acceptable to normal outside, just to survive. Yeah. It's a normal, everyday survival tactic when you're inside. You have to be able to adapt to things that are just awful and be okay with it. When you're out here, I don't have to be okay with it anymore. I don't have to adapt that way anymore. I have to be able to express myself and not be able to, and not be completely closed off like I was. So breaking down those walls and actually growing within those barriers and actually trying to change just almost a physiological reaction to everything has been the hardest part. I'm actually in therapy. I actually am going and talking with professionals and actually trying to make sure that I'm okay. Yeah. Because if I'm not okay, then it could lead to another incident. And I don't want. That's what happened prior, because of how I and I already know what my triggers are. I already know what my warnings are. I already know what steps I need to take now. Because not only did I learn those bad behaviors, but I taught myself some really good behaviors. I taught myself some ways of giving myself grace. I taught myself of ways of reducing down the stress, reducing down my risks, reducing down everything that has caused me to be explosive. We'll just say that.
You kind of touched on it a little bit, but like, what resources have been helpful to you, kind of as you start to reintegrate back into the community?
People. Ultimately, being open and adaptive to people. That has been huge. If I didn't accept help where I needed help, I wouldn't have my job, I wouldn't have my car, I wouldn't have my house, I wouldn't have my family, I wouldn't have my friends, I wouldn't have the community of people whom I love and trust around me. And it's huge. I mean, even you guys, just interns just randomly meeting me for the first time or knowing me for a little bit of time and still being there for me is that extra part of the web, that actually that support web that you need, that is so absolutely important. And if you lose out on that, you're more than half of the battle is over with at that point. You're already looking at, you're half put another foot back in prison at that point.
Yeah.
Was it like nerve-wracking to accept help at first?
Yes. Oh, it was. I'm a very self-sufficient, egotistical moron when it comes down to things. In all honesty, I mean, that's who I was. I didn't accept help. I didn't accept the fact that I was sick. I didn't accept the fact that I was mentally sick.
Yeah.
And it caused a lot of things. It ultimately caused me to go to prison. And I don't find that acceptable for me anymore. Any one of you guys can have those symptoms and everything else, and I will do my damnedest to make sure you guys are okay. So yeah, I didn't really care about it, and I just did my thing, and I bulldozed through people. Like, that's who I was. I wasn't this kind person. I wasn't this person who has this like genuine curiosity. It's like, hey, how are you today? Like, I never had that before. I have that now because it just, I don't know. It makes life better. It just, I'm the one now that was like, hey, I'm spreading love and sunshine. Leave me alone. Let me spread my love and sunshine.
Do you feel like when you were incarcerated, you were learning that, or was it right after?
It was learning during.
Yeah.
It was actually the learning process during. I had to learn how to actually accept the fact that I had a terrible situation. Every day was miserable. I had to learn to laugh in that. I had to learn to be a friend in that. I had to learn. I mean, it's basically like your combat buddy. If you've been in war or, you're going through, you're literally in the trenches at this point. And, excuse me, those of you that you're in the trenches with, you form these bonds. I mean, I'm not saying we're as close as military people are, but if you have that, like, the one person that I know that I can talk to every single day, I can text him whenever I want to, it doesn't matter what time of day, and he'll answer the phone for me, is Brennan. And I met him there. And I would do the same for him. I would drop everything and I would let my parole officer know, hey, I have to go to Arkansas. Yeah. Can you give me a travel pass or whatever at that point? I'll be back as soon as I can. I will keep you updated. I will let you, I'll give you my exact location on my phone. Yeah. I don't care. It's what's going to be. I would do that for him. Yeah. And I know he'd probably do the same for me.
Like you built that family with each other.
Yes.
And that
camaraderie that you just don't normally get through just normal experiences. That type of trauma that you have to go through. You build that, and then it's like, okay, if I can build that with someone who's a complete stranger in a terrible place, well, here's my loved ones. These are people who support me and love me regardless of my actions, regardless of everything that I've done towards them, around them, being that part of that ripple, and you just find yourself like, oh, you have that aha moment almost. You're like, this is unconditional. These people are here, and they're going to stick with you regardless. I mean, I've changed minds, yes, and both ways, both positive and negative. Yeah. It happens. You're not, I'm not about to have that, that I don't always expect that positive reaction from people, and that's okay. And that's perfectly fine, and I understand. I mean, it's okay. I'm a former felon, and I totally get that you have that apprehension to be near me, and if you want to keep your community that way, please do so. Yeah. Please do so. It doesn't offend me. I already know to adapt to that. Yeah. And those are some of the behaviors that I actually learned, that I had to be accepting of just things that are completely outside my control as well. So it all builds on each other.
Were there any resources that you wished were available for your reentry?
Yeah, I wish there was a bit more transparency when it came to the actual next step, the first steps you're supposed to take. I had no idea where I was supposed to go. I had no idea what I was supposed to do. My first day out was so hectic and stressful. I was almost contemplating, like, hey, I just want to go back in and just take a nap. Please let me do that. You know, it was delay after delay, and then I didn't know if I had to go down to Indianapolis, if I had to stay up here, or if I was trying to do, like, what was my next steps. I had to contact certain, parole officer, but I did contact probation. Probation was like, no. I drove down to Indianapolis that day, and they said, yeah, you're not on probation yet. I didn't know that. I had no idea. Everybody that was my caseworker, whomever, didn't give me any steps, and I thought I was actually in with them pretty decently because I helped them. I did a lot of grant work for them. I mean, I did a lot for Westville that normal people wouldn't do because I wanted to help. I wanted to make that a better place because I was going to live there. I was living there for that time, and to make it a better place, I thought, building that type of, there was always just some type of barrier, even with the closest people that I thought were completely on my side.
Yeah.
That type of transparency is not there, only because I know that the staff and everything else are guarding themselves because they've probably been burned or they've probably been hurt in the past from inmates who are just complete assholes. And that's what it is. And again, that's another thing that's completely outside of my control, where I wish it was a resource I had. I wish I had that type of connection. I wish I had that, or just that information all around. And been like, okay, cool. Now what? That's where I was. That first week was just like, I mean, I still get kind of a panic attack about it because thinking about it because it was so stressful. It was just like, it's like, okay, cool. I have a house. Now what? I have a place to live. That's a third of the problems that most, food, shelter, the Maslow's law, you're trying to get that base end of what you're trying to do. Where do you go? You're just trying to get your basic needs met. And when you go into into the offices for the first time, you're just like, hi, I'm a puppy. I've been gone forever and a day. I don't know people. I don't know anything. I'm trying to adapt. I'm trying not to growl and be, trying to puff up, trying to make myself bigger in a way that I'm not supposed to be. Being intimidated by the fact that I'm out in the real world now because you're scared. That's another thing. You don't realize how scared you really are until you step foot outside of those gates or outside of that wall, and you're just like, you build it up so big. You build it up to this point to where it's like, what if I fuck up? What happens next? I mean, what do I do? Like, I borrowed my brother's phone. The first hour out, I was calling probation, I was calling parole, I was calling my sister, I called my best friend, I called Brennan, I called as many people as I could. It's like, okay, what do I do? Yeah. And I had my brother and my mom sitting there like, okay, where are we going? Yeah. Like, my brother was driving, my mom was like, where are we going? Yeah. It's snowing, like, it's January, you don't know, it's like freezing cold. It's just like, I wanted a hot coffee and just sit and just be able to focus. No, I have to do something, right? I have to act. And if I don't act, I'll fail. And most people don't have even that. Most people don't have that first actual, that first contact with family. They don't have, they'll have someone pick them up, but it's like a friend that they barely knew or, a former client of theirs at that point. And it's just like, you're not building anything. You're just maintaining again. You're still within that same mentality of inside where you're not going to be able to grow. You're not going to be able to experience life and be able to move forward. And when you have on top of that those difficulties of just not knowing what you're supposed to do, old habits are really easy. Super easy to go back to. I was lucky enough to have that family to be like, hey, don't do this. Don't do those old habits. Don't get back into your head. Don't get back into whatever you're trying to do. Keep moving forward. Like, my sister kept on me about it. Hey, how are you? Every day. There wasn't a day for the first 3 months she wouldn't text me or she wouldn't call me. She made sure I was okay.
Checking in,
It's huge. It's like, hey, what's your next step? What are you doing now? What do you have to do next? Prodding me to make sure I'm thinking about what I have to do, what I have to move forward for. I had my mom doing the same thing, and I was very, very lucky. Again, I will always say I was lucky. I had those relationships. I still have, and just to be able to grow and be able to move, and be able to just think. Like, they gave me those opportunities to be able to, like, hey, why don't you follow the steps that are on this piece of paper? Oh yeah, I have a piece of paper that kind of tells me what I'm supposed to do. Most people throw it away and they don't even try, and it's just like, I had to try. And not only try, I had to succeed. And failure didn't seem like it was going to be another option. I made sure it wasn't an option, ultimately, because even now I still feel like if I slip even a little bit, I don't want to go back.
Yeah.
No one wants to go back. It is a terrifying experience. I survived those 7 years on grit and just sheer will. I don't have that in me anymore. I don't have that again. I was younger, I was spry, I was scrappy, I had, the ability to move and groove, and now I'm old and just kind of stubborn.
So what are some of the goals you have working toward?
Okay, so ultimately is to get off paper. That means getting off probation, getting off of parole. Once I'm off of that, it's going to be, I'm already looking into grants, business loans, all the things that I did before. But I'm doing instead of just not for someone else, I'm doing everything for me. And I'm doing it the right way, and I want to build a legacy, and I want to build up a game shop. I guess, something goofy, something fun, something that I enjoy to do. Imagine, a place where you have a dungeon master there doing his thing, and you can go to that place and be like, hey, we're going to play the game. And they already know all the games in the shop. You can sit down for a couple hours, play the game. Cool if you want to buy it. Here you get the offer, whatever you paid for the deposit, and you're good to go. Here's your thing. Have a nice day. A full, a community game shop. That one that will actually have not just events, but just an actual, people wanting to go in there and be there and, building community. That's what my biggest goal is. And I think I've laid down a pretty decent groundwork on that right now, just keeping up with the current relationships that I have and people that I need to have around me, and actually cutting out the people who were negative towards me as well. And, there's a lot of difficulties in that, but that's just one goal. So, and then the second one is, travel more. I want to be able to I can't really travel outside the country too much. Not until I have to go through a whole process with sealing my records and all that stuff. But even then, travel. If I had to do train trip around the country, that's fun. Or take my car and just boogie and just do my thing for a while. That sounds like a plan. Ultimately, get out of Indiana. I think that's my second goal. The third one is actually establishing a good set of stability, just actual good foundational stability for myself. That way, I know where I'm grounded and I know where I have to be. I know what home is. I think that should be my top priority. I know I named it last, so I saved my best one for last. Yeah, no, that one is the most important one. As long as I can actually ground myself and actually put myself back and focus, I think that's my best goal. And they all kind of mesh together really well. And it's building community, building family, building myself. It's just all building. There's, yes, I'm going to fail at certain things. Yes, I'm using your words, giving myself that grace to be able to be like, okay, if I fail, if I make a misstep, what do I do next? Where do I go after that? What happens when I have, I don't have a clear path. I have 4 decisions I have to make, and they're all going to impact the same thing. And one hurts this person, one hurts that, or one destroys this thing. And there's no absolute good with it, but it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. That's how you build a business. That's just part of it. It's part of life. That's part of building relationships. It's all part of it. You make decisions every single day that impact everybody around you. You are the rock thrown into the still waters, and you notice, and you don't really notice those ripples until you are told that I didn't see my ripples. I didn't see the impact that I had on other people. I was told, Greg, you are impactful. You have this voice, you have this presence that other people don't. And it's because I'm now truly honest with myself and I'm truly honest with people. But before, I wasn't able to see the impacts that I made on other people. I didn't see how much I devastated people, how much I lifted up people, how I caused those waves and everything else in between. It's just, it makes a big difference, when you're actually conscious of what you're doing and how you would impact everyone around you. I was that guy. I will always reference me to this person I was controlling. I was this. I wasn't this open, honest, and it breaks me a little bit because those relationships that I had prior to it, I could have maintained better. But even then, if I live in those regrets and I live in that past, what am I supposed? Like, that's another thing I can't control.
Yeah.
It's just a continued cycle at that point. If you keep going down those certain paths and you keep doing those certain things, what are you supposed to, what are you supposed to do?
The same cycle.
You're doing the same thing over and over again. And there it is. You're back in that place. You're back at doing the thing. And oh, crap, I'm back in prison again. I'm not doing that again. I broke that. I made sure I am able to step forward and I'm able to be mindful, able to be present. That's probably the hardest thing that I've actually dealt with ultimately, was being present. So.
And now you're making new relationships and healthier ones as your better self.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It seems like you're being very proactive with all your choices.
I have to.
Rather than being reactive and just responding.
No, I'm terrible at being reactive. It's a fatal flaw of mine. If I get stressed out, I'll either panic or I'll stop. It's an emotional response that it's not that I'm not trying to process through it. I am, but my entire physiology will just completely stop it, and I don't know what to do. It's flight, fright, and freeze.
Yeah.
That's the third one. That's one that people don't usually. They're like, oh, fight or flight, freeze.
Yep.
I freeze.
Yeah.
I will. Oh, I was supposed to do something. Well, I didn't run. That's right. I didn't run.
Yeah.
I always told myself, well, I didn't run. Yeah, there's a reason. You did run up here, up in your head. But yeah, I have to be proactive.
Yeah.
If I get to that point where I'm stressed out enough, I'll start making my phone calls, or I'll start texting people, or I'll reach out to people who I know will be like, hey, Greg, what's going on? What do you need to do? Calm down. First and foremost, you're everywhere and anywhere. Your mind's going 1,000 miles a minute. What's your next step? And they'll remind me of that. And I don't expect them to remind me of that, but they will, because they love me and they care for me and they want to make sure that I'm okay.
Yeah.
Because they're part of that web, they're part of that network, they're part of that community and relationships and everything else. It all comes back to them. All of it does. So it's always there.
If you have that available to you, use it.
Yes, 100%.
If you have that support, if you have that
supports,
crutch, use it.
100%. I agree with that.
Use that care,
wholeheartedly.
use that support.
Absolutely.
It'll help you. It's helping you persevere already.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Very much so.
So with that, do you have any other thoughts you'd like to share?
For the guys that are just getting out and hearing this, I love you. I mean that in a way that it's a brotherhood love. And I know you need to hear this. And I know you probably skipped over a lot of the crap that I said. But just know I love you guys. And you need to know that. And you have support. If you need to, reach out to Sam. If you're on that website, and have her give you my number. I will try my damnedest to figure something out for you if you're lost. Also, be true to yourself, like I am to myself now. It is the hardest thing to do, and if you keep lying to yourself, you keep believing all the bullshit you keep telling yourself, you're not going to be able to grow. And you need to grow, because those first steps outside prison are the absolute pinnacle of everything you've done for your entire life.
Good. Mic drop. That was good. Yeah, that was really good. I think that's the best one we've had. Now, let's not delete it.